Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm super excited because Voiceflow just dropped one of the most coolest features of all time, which is this agent step, right? Now you might think it's not a big deal, it's just another step that's there. No, it will change the way you develop agents. Watch this video till the end and you will see you will spend 50% less time developing anything new in Voiceflow just because of this one particular step. Let's get started, right? So let me show you a quick demo, right? I'm just going to click on here and load an agent up. It's a sales agent, which technically sales data analysis. Goes ahead and I can ask it, which is my best-selling product. I'm just going to put that and zoom in a bit so you can see it more clearly. I put in that which is my best-selling product. This is the only step that it is going to use. Only the sales agent step. There is nothing else, right? And it's going to come back with based on data. The best-selling product is phone, and here is a breakdown. Now, all of this data is coming from this particular Excel sheet. It's a simple demo Excel sheet that I've created just to do this. Everything that's happening in that one single step, this was an actual template that is part of one of my old videos where you had to use all of these steps to do what is already happening there. Quite literally, this is a data assistant, takes information from a Google sheet, responds in a specific format, logs that data and all of those things, right? All of this can be done using a single step. And I'm going to teach you how to build that in a super quick way. So let's get started, right? Now, first I'm going to show you how I built this one. It's super simple. You just drag and drop this agent block and drop it anywhere you want. You'll be able to select something that you've already created, or you click on create an agent and you get this beautiful thing. Now, I'll go ahead deeper into that, but I want to show you what we did with the sales agent. If I come here, edit this, you can see I've just written a 4-line prompt, which is super easy to read. You can say, you're an expert in sales data, pull the data from based on the question user is asking, respond to the user according to their query. I've just added one more thing which I technically don't need to, but just to be a bit more on the safer side, analyze the user last input very critically and respond. Then the function part, right? The function part that we want to pull the data from Voiceflow is built right in. That means I don't need to go here. I don't need to take this block and come and drop this here. I can just come here, click on edit, come here beautifully, and just select any function. This is the function that I have already loaded. Now you can add a function, and if you want to learn more about functions, there's a complete video on that. I'll link that here. But you can just select any function. You can create a new function, you can create a record and everything. This particular function is something created in the community where you can put in your Google Sheet, put in an API key and everything and get the data. And it works. I pull the data from Google Sheet with sales data, right? Now, here is the beauty of this thing. Then let's say the user is not happy with the response, right? Now, if I had to capture that before, I had to tell, okay, you know what, if the user is not happy, ask them if they're happy or not. And if they're not happy, then take this particular step and go from there, right? So if you see here, if someone wants to fail to fetch data, I have another step and I have to do all of these things, right? That's fine. But the point is, it still sucks, right? Now it does not. So if I come back here and I say I'm not happy, and this will particularly select that, I can just say technically, I can just say talk message and I say, well, you better be. This is all I have. Right? Again, I'm just trying to be fun here. Don't write this in a real agent or something like that. But let's come back in and I say very simply, get me data from last year, from this year, sales. I will go ahead, fetch the data, again respond with whatever data it has. But after this, I want to say, I'm not happy. I don't like your response. It should respond in a couple of seconds. I've used 03 mini, so it's a bit slow because it analyzes the response further. As you can see, it went there and said, well, you better be happy, this is all I have, right? Automatically, it determined that this is the path I want to take because I, in my agent tab, have gone and written a path here, right? If the user tells or expresses that the answer that you're giving are not great, then follow this path, right? This is how you technically can build an agent in literally 3 seconds. Now, I'm going to build a super common agent that I'm going to reuse every time I need an agent to capture information, right? I need something to capture an information. Very simply, I want you to ask the user for all their details, which is email, phone number, and name. This is all the information that I wanted to capture. Until you have captured that, please keep asking for the information which is pending. Obviously, we are going to ask and capture that, but we still need to send this information somewhere. Very simply, I can say, once you have captured that information, use a function to send the record, send the details to the Airtable. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we are Just going to mention this. Once you've captured the information, use a function to send the details to Airtable, which is named as Airtable update lead. So I can come here, I can select this function. I have a list of other functions. So I rename this one to update a lead function. So you have this function, and then you can define this, use this function to update record in an Airtable when and only when you have access to all the details by the user, which are name, phone number, and email. We're going to ignore all those things. Now, again, I'm just putting this, like, I'm just going to copy this, extract the information from the user, and input the user phone number here. Now, again, very simply, like, again, I'm going to put user email here, right? And then in the same format, I'm going to put this and input the user name here. Once we have all of this, you have to update the base ID and table ID and the base ID. Now, all of those things you can find in your table. So again, you can go to the documentation of Airtable. Now, the way you can get all those details is to select Builder Hub, and once you come to Builder Hub, you can get all the IDs, the documentation, and everything else. So it's how to access this, create a token, and everything else. Again, that's for a separate video, but you can just go ahead and do that, right? So once I'm going to input all of this, now very simply, when you're using that, ensure that you are inputting the ID in a default value, right? You can write the name of the table also here, which is called leads. I'm going to input that here and then paste an API token, which I'm not going to show on the video, and the base ID also. Again, let's go ahead and try this out, right? I can just test this part out. I don't need to use the sales agent, but I can just say very simply, it should technically ask for details right now. One of the things that I want to show you is also kind of thing that you have to describe. So please provide your email address. I can also go ahead, and I don't want that as an input. I want to say, I want you to ask the user for all the details, which is email, phone number, and name. Start by greeting them, and then ask for details, right? And I can just say that, and then this looks better. Again, you can like obviously put a message before and then directly ask it for details, but again, let's just go. I want to get rid of the debug mode. Hopefully all of this works. Could you please provide me with your name? I'm going to write Akshat. Then it should technically ask for my email, right? So I'm just going to put a test email or a phone number. I don't know, like, again, so a@a.com, right? Again, test email completely, and then it's going to ask me for a phone number, which I'm just going to put 1 2 3 4 5 6, so that it just processes the data, and we can see this, right? And once this is done, technically it should be able to send an API call to Airtable, to our leads table. Now again, it did submit the details, but as you can see, here's what I have. Now I will send this information to Airtable. Now again, obviously I don't want this, so I'm going to update that. But if you see this, it actually worked. It did work with the function, automatically triggering that function and getting all the details here. And this is absolutely amazing, right? But obviously I'm going to update this. I'm going to say, very simply, come back here, click on the agent, edit it, and come back here and say, done, right? So I can now go ahead, create a path and say, okay, perfect. So we are just going to input the path and then trigger this when you have captured all the information. Perfect. This is done, and I can say all the required variables should be here. So only trigger this when you have the phone number and email, but I'm not going to do that, and that's pretty much it on the end of completing this. Now I can just say go ahead and then put a message. We are all done and be happy, right? This is technically how this whole process of capturing the information one by one in every part that I have to do is just solved in a single step. I can copy paste this step and use it multiple times. Now, there is one of the coolest features that you're missing right now, and I need to show that to you that exists in the agent that you have been seeing throughout the video. That is called access to the knowledge base. Now, right now, you can use knowledge base in multiple places, right? You can use it in the prompt step, you can use it in the talk step and everything else. But this just solves a ton of problems. Let's say, for example, I use the KB search step, right? So if I have to use a KB search step, here is how I'll go about it. I'll ask a question. So let's say Mexico travel guidelines. This is some information that I have in my Voiceflow about travel guidelines, and then if I have to run this, it will respond in just a format that does not make any sense, can't be used directly. I have to technically connect this into some kind of like, a very simple prompt step, bring this whole information here, create a new prompt, check travel persona, and all of those things, right? So it's like a whole crazy thing. This will just take a lot of time. So what we can do is we can just technically get rid of all of this, right? So let me just delete this, and just come back to our knowledge base answer agent. Come back here. I have a very simple line defined here. You are an expert in travel. Use your knowledge base always to get more details before answering the user questions. And then I just have access to knowledge base. Now again, as you can see, there is an LLM default description which says trigger the knowledge base when you don't know the answer to a question. I just want to say trigger the knowledge base every time you're trying to answer. Now, once I do this, I technically can also select a different AI model. So I can select O3 Mini, I can select something else. I like O3 Mini a lot, so I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep the max tokens. And once all of this is done, I will just go ahead and click on this plus button and be able to test it in seconds, right? So I'm going to ask, what are the travel guidelines for Mexico, right? And then again, it also gives it automatically like an in travel option, like, like a greeting. You can obviously change that. You can say like, just answer the user question and remove that, all of those things. But very simply, when you ask what are the travel guidelines for Mexico, I believe it will give us a decent answer with all the information already present. You can see it went out, searched the information, and has all the information specifically from US specific information, because I have a US specific knowledge base, which literally took us nothing. It just took the answer, brought it to us, and it looks pretty good. And the idea that you can do all of this instead of merging 2 to 3 different steps just solves a ton of problems when you're building and maintaining agents. I still believe this is one of the most super cool steps that Voiceflow could have launched, and kudos to the team. But again, if you're till here, I want to tell you something else. If you want all of these templates, if you want the prompts, if you want other stuff that I've built here, which is like a massive travel agent and everything else, you can find all of this in the community. I just released the community a couple of weeks back. We're just starting up with the members. You can go ahead and see the link below in the description and learn more. But until then, I would love if you can like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot, and I would love to see you in the next one. See you. Bye-bye.